What up, everybody? Welcome to I Am Coach Mims podcast. And today I got my best friend, my road dog, Shonda, back on the set with me today. And we're going to talk about what, Miss Shonda?
Relationships. Friendships, relationships.
Oh, man, I'm already in here sweating, boy.
Woo-wee.
So, I mean, for those of you that don't know, me and Shonda have been friends for how long now?
2015? Since 2015? Almost 8 years?
Almost 8 years.
Yeah.
Dang, 8 years. So we've been friends for 8 years. When I met you through a mutual friend, you were just getting a divorce.
Yeah.
And I was married back then for about what, 4 months? When I first met you, I was married for 4 months. And then in 2020, I got divorced. And 2020 was, that was a crazy year. 2020 was a crazy year. I got divorced in 2020, and let's just talk about the friendship part of me and you. I'm gonna let you start it off.
I don't know where to start. I mean, so I met Coach Mims as you guys know him. I met him, as he said, not too long after my divorce. I was going through some pretty serious health issues during that time. And a mutual friend of ours recommended him as a trainer for me to kind of help facilitate me getting back on the right track health-wise. Initially, he did not. He wasn't in agreement with it.
I did not want no part. Back then, when I started my training career, I didn't train women, and I didn't train everyday walk of life people. I just trained athletes. I could relate to athletes more than I can relate to, and plus I didn't want to deal with all the whining and crying and why I got to do this and why. I wanted nothing to do with that.
But little did he know, I grew up in a house with, at that time, little did he know that I grew up in a house with mostly men. It was just me and my mom. I had all brothers. So I wouldn't have been that type of client. And he later found out that I wasn't that type of client. I actually pushed myself harder than some of his athletes that he trained did during that time. So I was dealing with a lot of health issues. And, long story short, he finally agreed because I started kind of doing some marketing and things like that for him, because I had actually just finished my MBA as well. So I started doing some marketing stuff for him and helping him with the business. It was, I think during that time for me, I kind of needed that push in order, because of everything that was going on with me personally. I needed someone that
She lied. She needed more than a push. My first time training her, 5 minutes. It was 5 minutes.
That was a pass. He wanted to bring up like old stuff because he don't want to talk about.
It was
like
5 minutes. It was 5 whole minutes.
That's how bad in shape I was in. That's how bad in shape I was in health wise. And hopefully he'll have me back on his show to kind of talk through. Maybe in a few months, to kind of talk through some of the health issues I've dealt with and been dealing with even as of recent. But I knew it would be a challenge for him because after I told him, like, I have diabetes, I have thyroid issues, I have fibromyalgia, I have all these things going on with me. I'm like, here I am. This is your project. Like, here I am.
And I must admit, when I took on the challenge of training Shonda, I had no idea of the amount of health issues she had going on. And to make a long story short, I can honestly say training Shonda took my training to a whole nother level, because I had to build a whole complete foundation for her, because she doesn't have a thyroid. So what she ate at that time, I couldn't put her on a regular like meal plan that I would put somebody else on, because she didn't have a thyroid. She had high blood pressure. She just had a mess of stuff going on, to where I just had to slowly take my time in training Shonda and building a platform for Shonda. But I can honestly say, not only financially, but for me mentally, it took my training to a whole nother level. And that's when, the training cave really took off. And that's when I was able to I walked away from corporate America in
2016.
2016 was my last day of working in corporate America, and I became an entrepreneur at that time. And I can honestly say, at that time, like I said, I was married to somebody else, and at that time, and this is what I want to hit on, Shonda. A lot of times we marry people and we get in relationships with people, and we don't understand the true meaning of we're going to grow. Sometimes when, nobody's going to be the same. And I want you to touch on this too. When you marry a person and you get in a relationship with that person, and you're in a relationship with that person, you fell in love with the first image of that person. So as time goes on, that person changes. And not only does that person change, but you change too. So, when I was married to the person that I was married to at that particular time, I became an entrepreneur, and I became obsessed with my job. I became obsessed with everything that I did revolved around that gym, and still to this day revolves around that gym. My life, everything revolves around that gym. So we were growing apart. And as much times as I tried to make it work and she tried to make it work, we weren't the same two people that actually fell in love with each other and that was in a relationship with each other. Like, I grew as an entrepreneur, and my goals and my dream and everything else changed. And, she wanted me to be the person that she first met and do certain things. And my lifestyle, what I was creating, the foundation that I was creating later on in life, was just moving in a different direction. And it's how can I say it? There is no, man, I want to say this in the right way and in the right tone, because I wasn't a bad person. She's not a bad person. It's just, when it was time for me to take my gym to the next level, and my dreams and my goals, it wasn't what she wanted. And that doesn't make her a bad person. And that doesn't make me a bad person. It just means that life changed for me. And she didn't want to accept the type of life that I was living. And she didn't want to make the type of sacrifices that I made.
But I think it goes back to, I'm going to be honest, and I can tell you about my past experience. Like, you used the term where you said you fall in love with a person. And I don't like using that term, because I feel like it's not a fall in love. You grow to love a person. You grow in love with that person. And when I use the term grow, to me, it's more positive and it's more long term because, like you said, everybody's going to change over time. The same person I was when we first met 8 years ago is not the same person that I am right now. No. Life happens for people, not just in marriage, but everything. Life happens. You experience loss. You experience, things on your job. Everything happens that changes the dynamic of who an individual is over time. So you can't, if you're in a relationship, what I've learned is you have to continuously grow together because I fell in love. When I say I fall in love, I fell in love with who you were at that particular time.
Right.
I fell in love with just the Urban who was, working a 9 to 5, who was, this, that, the third, or the Shonda who was, just had a regular engineering job and she didn't spend a lot of time working late hours at work that she does now. Like, I have to be able to make adjustments and we have to understand what each other is going through. So I think that's the difference is the foundation of how that relationship started. And to me, the foundation is when you meet somebody, it shouldn't be, I think a lot of times when relationships start, they start out as strictly just lust. Like, let's be honest.
It's the sex thing.
You're not I mean, let's do real talk. You're not even really trying to truly get to know that person. You are looking at the appearance. You're looking at the financial piece of it. You're looking at, so you're not really trying to get to know that person and really build a foundation of friendship first. Like, let me see if I can just be around you as my friend. Let me see if I can share some of my deepest, darkest secrets with you as just my friend.
And I think, and I don't mean to cut you off. And I think that's what I'm only speaking from a man's point of view. I think as men, that's our biggest fear of sharing our fears with a person, sharing, our goals with a person, what we trying to achieve, what we trying to get at in life, because we don't know the feet where. I'm gonna tell you, I was scared heartless to share with any woman, to share my deepest, darkest secrets when it came to like what happened to me in my past growing up. Be on the lookout for that book because I'm writing that book about, parts of my life and how I got to the football and how football helped change my life. But, it's a lot of emotion. As men, we're taught to just chin up, chest up, march forward. Don't care about nothing else. Nothing. You're supposed to have thick skin. And a lot of times it's like, where do I park that negative energy at? Where do I share it with somebody and then not be afraid of when we get in an argument or something, you throw my deepest, darkest secrets back in my face. Ladies, if I can change any young lady mind, when a man opens up to you and he tell you his fears and his deepest, darkest secrets, if you ever use that against him in an argument, you have lost that man. I don't care what vagina you think that you have. You lost me. You lost any man on planet Earth will tell you. We will try to make it work. It will try to, but it ain't gonna never be the same because for men, I can never trust you again. So it's like, that's why, and I'm not condoning cheating, but that's why a lot of men cheat, because it's like, man, I trusted this chick with this information and she slapped me back in my face. So I'm gonna go ahead over here to this next woman because she's taking a place of, she's creating a comfortable environment for me. It's not, this over here is too much tension. But this over here, even though I didn't share my deepest, darkest secrets with this woman over here, she's just making it comfortable for me right now. It's uncomfortable for me to sleep next to you because you use that ammo against me like that with my deepest, darkest secrets.
But you have to understand too that when you start to feel that way, that's your cue in a relationship to just walk away. Don't cheat. Walk away because what you're doing is what you're doing is you took those and for me, that's why when I got divorced, it was hard for me because I was always a stickler on the vows that I took before God. Like I took these vows before the Most High. So I'm going to do whatever I can to stick it out, to do whatever. So for me, I feel like as anybody, not men or women, because it's not just men that cheat, women cheat too. So for anybody that has that urge to do that, regardless of what their spouse is doing, I think that's the cue that you need to exit stage left. I mean, especially if you've gone through, like, if you say, okay, I did it and whatever, we're going to try to go to counseling, we're going to try to work it out or whatever, but it continues to be a repetitive thing, then that's the exit stage left.
It's easier said than done, because when you, as a man, when I invest time and listen.
No.
I'm gonna let you speak. I'm gonna let you speak, sis. Go ahead. Take the gloves off.
No,
don't do that.
No. I got you.
Don't do that, Red.
I got you.
Don't do that, Red.
Don't do that. Don't.
But in all seriousness, I'm gonna say this piece, and I'm only speaking from experience, and I'm only telling you what I've been through. For me, it was, I invested so much time over here. I didn't invested time. I invested, bump the financial piece, bump all of that, but my time, man, my time and my heart that I invested over here, man, that thing is deep.
But look at what the outcome was. Okay, so for me, I said the same thing. Like I invested almost over 7 years.
Same here. Almost 7 years. Yeah.
Into that relationship, but it wouldn't have been 7 if I would have if
you would have tapped out.
If I would have did what I would, so we always say I invested so much time. But one thing I know now is time you can never get back.
Nah.
One thing I know is time you can never get back. So
and your heart, man.
And all of
your heart. Man, I'm talking about, I'm a type of person, when I love you, man, I love you, man. And you gotta do something for me. Like I'm a loyal person, bro. I'm a loyal person. And when I say I love you, that means just words, me talking, bro. Like I love you. So for me to leave a certain situation or leave this alone, you got to say, it's got to be some serious words that you say to me that's like a knife and it stabbed me in my heart. And I gotta bleed out for me to leave. And that's what happened to me in my situation. Was like she took that knife and it hit in my heart and she turned that thing and I bled out and I was like, okay, it's time to hit the exit button. And I think that, and I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you talk. And I think that's the situation with a lot of men and our pride. And a lot of it is our pride too. Our pride of not wanting to fail. And I think that was my biggest thing is, you know what I'm saying? My biggest thing, I didn't want to fail.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to fail like that.
Nobody.
You know what I'm saying? Because I knew, and I'm not, I'm not saying I was a perfect husband. I wasn't a perfect husband back then. You know what I'm saying? But it was like I was so focused on making this gym thing work and changing the dynamic. For me, I'm always a forward thinker. I plan on changing the dynamic of my family, and football has helped me do that. And now, being the business owner that I am with the Training Cave, is helping me set up my family for when I'm gone. You know what I'm saying? Like they gonna be all right. I'm sacrificing a lot right now. And that was one of the things that I couldn't get that person to understand. Like, I'm sacrificing right now. Why don't you see that? Why don't you see me sacrificing? Why don't you see me up at night, can't sleep because I'm trying to figure out like how am I going to get better as a trainer? How am I going to get better as an entrepreneur? How I'm going to make this 400 this $400 turn into $1 million. Like,
but in my opinion, it goes back to what I said: the foundation of friend and growing together is definitely important, in my opinion, in relationships, because if you don't have that, then eventually what you have, you're gonna see what you have. And I can speak that from experience. Again, never to say anything negative about past relationships or anything like that. But I think a lot of times as individuals, we make decisions to be with people, to be in relationships based on where we are at that particular time in our life.
And that's why I would never, I would never, and even to this day, at the time, me and her were both angry, but I would never say anything bad about her because we had some good times in our life.
Absolutely.
We had some good times in our life, and we had some times that it was bad. But I learned, she taught me, I learned from her. And I don't know if she learned from being in a relationship with me, but any relationship that you in with anybody, you learn from, whether it be good or whether it be bad. I took some good stuff from that marriage. I took some bad stuff from that marriage. And I learned me as a person. You know what I'm saying? I learned like what makes Irvin happy. You know what I'm saying? Like when I choose the next person I'm with, I want to choose the next person that the next person that I choose to spend the rest of my life with. I want that person. I want to open up my whole entire heart to them. I want to open up I want to tell them every deepest, darkest secret there is in the world. And I don't want them to worry about using that against me. And I think what made you and me work was we were already friends. And I was already, telling you some of the stuff, what I've been going through as being 45 years old and walking this earth for 45 years. I was unloading all of the trauma things that I've ever, went through, and all of my ideals, what I had for the business. It was always you that I went to. And I'll tell you guys a funny story. So after I got divorced, I went on my hoeing spree. I'm sorry. Well, I was out there selling my royal oats. But I was out there in the streets. I thought the streets, I thought the streets loved me. And I thought the streets loved me. I was out there. I was out there. And during that time I was out there, it was one particular day. I was training in the gym and I was getting ready for the weekend or whatever. And you came to me and you said one thing to me. You was like, Irv, what you doing right now, bro? That it just, you're about to lose everything.
I said, and I saw it because I saw it. He was a lot. Well, nobody knows at that particular time. You were on the road to self-destruction. And it was me watching it every day because we were friends and you were, I'm over here. I'm just like, oh gosh, like, I'm going out of town this weekend. And it was like every weekend you was, and people didn't realize that part of it. That's why he said 2020, 2021, those were tough years because it was, and even it was me throwing little hints out there to him periodically, but it wasn't until the day he's talking about when I really sat him down and I was like, this gym is about to be gone. like everything you worked so hard for is about to be completely gone because I saw him because I went through it, but I went through it differently during my divorce. He really got caught up in his emotions and trying to prove his manhood and all those things. And I saw it and I'm just like, it was just like, yo, you gotta, this is your friend. You gotta tell him whether he wanna talk to you again or not. You need to sit down with him and tell him like, yo, you are definitely on the road to self-destruction. And I did.
Yeah. I'll never forget that day. Like you really sat down and you have continued to be my friend and continue, even though we're married now, but you were at that particular time, we wasn't together, but you was my friend and you told me, it's like, look, Mims, like you about to lose everything, bro. Like, and I'm talking about 2020, 2021. I was so up, like I made a bag. My most profitable years and being in business for I've been in business for 8 years, 9 years now.
8 years.
8 years. I've been in business 8 years. In 2020 and 2021, I made more money in those 2 years combined than I did the rest of the 6 years I've been in business. 2020 and 2021 was.
And I think for me too, because I am definitely a faith-based person, and I definitely prayed for him a lot because I saw him going down that path. But I also know that God had to slow him down, so He allowed some things to happen in his personal life as well, to slow him down with the business, personal life, to definitely like, okay, she told you hear her, but I need to do something to shake it up a little bit. And that's what happened.
And he did. And he slowed it down because I was blowing through money. I blew through money like it was water. Like, and then it was just like, you start seeing the bank account. You was like, oh, that account is kind of low. Like, what's going on with that? But you continue on, and then the next account is low, and then the next account is low, and then you become in panic mode. And I'm going to her, like, and she's like, I told you this was coming. Like, so
warning comes before destruction.
So
and it came.
So when them accounts started getting drained and the money wasn't flowing like it usually flowed, then yeah, that was God slapping me in my face and telling me like, look, you want to lose all of this, or you like what you want to do? And I stopped. I stopped going out every weekend. I stopped, going here and spending this type of money on this and that. I just stopped in general. And then I forgot one. And then I think a couple of months later, we were out having drinks and and I was messing with her. I was like, well, Sean, what if I, you know what I'm saying? I was like, what if you give me a chance? And tell her what you told me.
I knew too much. At that particular time, I felt like I knew too much. I knew too much, and I wasn't, for me, it was just, even though we were friends, we were best friends, like I would tell him about, certain situations that I was having with guys and vice versa. For me, it was just like, man.
And stay off Tinder too, because she tried to get her ass on She got on Tinder. You was on Tinder.
When you bring up
yo, what my man said on Tinder? What he tell you?
So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Dating in this era is like, man, it's crazy dating in this era. And I had, people that they were in my ear and I fell into it like, oh, you should try a dating app. And I was told about a bunch of them, Christian Mingle and Tinder and Plenty of Fish.
And you parked yourself right on Tinder.
And I just did it. I put a profile up just to see like what the big hype was about going to using a dating app, and no pun against anybody who uses dating apps and have met their spouse or significant other right now. It wasn't for me. I got all type of stuff like I could never date you because you're vegan. I wouldn't know what restaurant to take you to. There was somebody else who literally asked me on there, his starter was out on his car and he didn't have money to get his starter fixed on his car. I mean, it was just all kinds of characters on there, and I couldn't take it. I'm like, I don't see how people do this because this is, and I never like, anybody who knows dating apps, you don't have to give anybody your personal information. You can talk through the app. So I would just talk to people through the app because I was never comfortable based on the interactions that I had on the app with giving anybody my personal information because I'm like, this is weird. Like, I'm not doing this. So it was just.
Hey, shout out to my man. Like, you missed the real one because I got her now. You heard? I appreciate the bullshit you said out your mouth, bro.
So I couldn't, for me, I couldn't personally do it, but no, it was, like I said, although we were friends, for me, it was tough. And, but we hung out all the time. We started hanging out all the time and, gain, even closer relationship and things like that. But I had to pray about that thing. I had to, really. I
appreciate you, God, answering that.
I really had
You come through a lot for me. But man, you came through on this one. I appreciate you, baby. I appreciate you, God.
There were definitely some trials and tribulations along the way. And, I had to pray and make sure that it was it for me, because like I said, it's just when you have that, when you know a person, but then on the flip side of it, because we were so comfortable with each other, like it's not our dynamic and because it's based on friendship. First, our foundation is that, and I think, and one of the things that he told me at the beginning of our relationship is, he said, he was like, man, your relationship with God is so strong that even if I thought about going out here doing something else,
like, ain't gonna work,
you would know the thought that I had because of your relationship. But and I think that's another difference in relationships when you talk about relationships. Is for me, I don't trust Irving, Coach Mims. I trust that God is going to instill in him to do the right thing. Because if I put my trust in him, he's gonna let me down every time. So I don't trust him that he's gonna do the right thing. I trust that that God is going to intervene, and his decisions will be based off of that. And I think it's vice versa. I think it took him a minute to get to that point, or whatever, because of his past relationships. But I think now he understands that. So when it comes to our foundation, God, friendship, we are truly best friends. I'm not the type, and he's not the type, like, I would rather me tell him, like, I find this man over here attractive, than for him to look in the corner of his eye and see me staring. Now I'm not staring like that, but it's like, and him see me admiring, somebody else. I would rather say, Irvin, like, man, that's a nice looking guy, or vice versa. Him saying, like, Sean, like, man, she has a nice body. It's not, to me, I don't feel disrespected because I'm comfortable. First, I'm comfortable in me and who I am, and vice versa. But I don't feel like he's lusting after that if he says that, and I'm not lusting after anything. If I say that another man is attractive, we're human. I would rather him know than me in my head getting all like, oh, is he looking at somebody else? Is he talking to somebody else?
And I'm not. And this is the thing. What a lot of relationships, and like you said, we go back to the foundation part. She's not in competition with that woman that walked by. Like, there's no competition. It's a lot of times we joke about it. A girl will walk by and she got a big booty or something. I'll be like, dang, Sean, she got a big booty. And the next thing she'll say out of her mouth, she was like, it is big, but do you think it's real? You know what I'm saying? So we'll have a whole conversation. I'll be like, oh, I'd be like, I think it's real because you know that thing cuffing real good underneath there, and then
I'll be
then
like,
she
no,
ain't
but
got
her-
she ain't got the skinny thighs. So you know that thing. I think that thing's sitting pretty big. I think that thing real. You know what I'm saying? It's just that we respect each other enough, and I always tell her first, we're friends first before the marriage, before anything. Like we're truly friends first, and that's what we honor the most about each other is that we can be honest with each other about anything, and we're truly friends. Like our friendship is first. So you know we don't get into arguments with each other. We have discussions. It'd be a lot of times where I don't, I'm talking to her about this and I don't want to make this move. And then she'll tell me, well, I think you should make this move. And here's why you should make this move, X, Y, and Z. It'd be sometimes where she come to me and she'd be like, like, I ain't trying to do that. And I'd be like, nah, Sean, like, you got to do that. Because if you do that, that's going to put you at X, Y, and Z. You know what I'm saying? Then she'd be like, dang, you know what? I think you're right. I think you're right. You know what? I'm a rock with that, what you told me. There's a lot of things that, you know what I'm saying? She come to me sometimes and she had a bad day at work and she'd be like, well, this happened. And I'm just like, Sean, take yourself out of that situation and look at it from this person's point of view and tell me what you think. Like it might have been a simple thing as your tone was too high with them. Like tell me like when you telling me the story, tell me in the same tone that you were talking to that other person in. That's why I always tell her, and she'd be like, dang, I think you might have been right.
And I think it goes back to us being able to communicate on a level to where it's not offensive. When you genuinely care about a person, like truly care about that person and that person's well-being, like, I don't put anything negative in the atmosphere when it comes to our relationship or anything like that. But, if anything ever occurred, one thing that I can say is that we genuinely care about each other as an individual, as a person. So I think when we have discussions, we know that it's coming from that space. It's not coming from he's trying to control me, I'm trying to control him. It's genuinely coming from I care about your well-being and I want you to be successful, whether it's with me or not. And I think that's how our when we started dating, that was the initial dynamic of our relationship. It came from a true, genuine place. Like we wanted to see each other successful and happy and all those things genuinely, whether it was with us or not. And honestly, even when he was out in those streets, like I wanted him to be happy. I wanted him to feel like he could open his heart again, and find somebody else that would make him happy and all those things. And he felt the same thing for me. But I think, like I said, for our generation at our age, it's man, I don't.
It's real out here in these streets. It's real, boy. Hey, for all the single brothers that's out there, y'all in y'all 40s and late 30s, boy, listen, it's rough out there, boy. It's woo.
And
it's rough.
We kept the dynamic of our relationship, not, I wouldn't say a secret or anything like that, but he always says like I want to protect our relationship, because when you start putting things out,
I think for me it had a lot to do at the particular time. I won't say afraid. I would say at that particular time I was just taking off on social media, and man, listen, y'all cruel. Y'all cruel. Y'all take somebody's relationship to say, oh, it's not that good. Let me tell you about what he did in 85. It's like, what? 1985? So you gonna talk about what I did in 1985 to my wife that I'm married with in 2024? Like, what? And some women will get upset because some chick that came through in the inbox and say, oh, well, I was with him on da 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 da. And some women will take offense to that. for something that a man did in his past. So those are the kind of things that like I was afraid of, so to speak, of another woman coming back saying, "Oh, well, he was with me and such day, on such and such day and such day," and I just wanted to protect her from that, because we were our romance part was new. So I didn't know that side of Sean in the romance part. I just knew our relationship as friends. I didn't know how, like, some people say they dated a friend and then they turn that friendship part off and then it's all romance part, and it's is like, and it's funny sometimes because we'll go places a lot of times, and sometimes like I won't have my ring on and we'll be talking. They be like, "Damn, y'all brother and sister." We be like, "What? What the?" They be like, "Y'all mad cool. Like y'all act like like y'all homies. Like y'all just mad cool." And I'll be like, "Nah, that's my wife." And they be like, "Dang. Like you have fun with your wife." Like, I'm like, "What?" Like,
we can laugh and joke, and I mean, but everybody knows his personality. So we are kind of opposite in the sense that he's the class clown, outgoing, bubbly, type of, and I'm more laid back. I'm a jokester because I come from a family of jokesters. My brothers like are something else, but I'm more of the reserved and laid back type of person. So anywhere we go, I don't care if it's just us eating at a restaurant, he's gonna engage with the servers and all of that stuff. So it brings me in, it takes me out of that shell. And a lot of times that's what I say, like, "Man, you guys are just mad cool." Like, but it's like we feed off of each other. Like he brings that side out of me. And I think one thing that I've done from his perspective is because he's so high energy. I think one thing he's learned from me is like calm, peace. It's okay to be chill. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you don't have to be that,
that spark plug for everybody.
Yeah,
because I've always been like that. I've always been that spark plug for everybody, and I never had nobody that's just like calm and still have a loving demeanor, a cool demeanor about them. And it's like you can still be yourself around that person.
And again, that's not me changing him or him changing me. It's just us complimenting each other in that manner.
The energy.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that thing is, I'm a big energy person. So for me, it's like if I'm running around creating the energy in the room all the time and it's just like this, and I don't have nobody to pass that baton around and flow around with the energy, man, you get exhausted. You get exhausted and
I get exhausted being around him sometimes.
But I'm a big energy person, bro. I feed off of people energy. Like if your energy is wrong, then I'm a quiet person when it comes to, if I feel like your energy ain't right, I'm just like this. Like I'll spark a conversation with you, but I ain't going to engage as much as I would if your energy was right. And she's seen that and that's how she can tell. She was like, "You wasn't really feeling them, right?" I was like, "Nah." She was like, "I can tell because you was real short." You was like, "Yeah, no, all right, okay." Like she was like, "You was real dry." She was like, And sometimes she'll pull me. I get stopped all the time and ask so many questions and stuff. And sometimes if she see the energy ain't right, like she'll pull me, she'll be like, "Hey babe, we got to get to this appointment." And I'll be like, "Oh yeah, you're right, babe." I'll be like, "All right, it was nice meeting you, talking to you," and I'm out. But if she see that the energy is good and I'm upbeat with that person, I'm having a conversation with that person, she'll start to chime in. And then the energy, everybody is feeding off each other. And before you know, you'd be like, "Oh," the person either us or the person be like, "Oh man, we was here for 30 minutes. Let me give you my number so you can call and we can chop it up another time." And that's why people always say like, "Yo, if you have a conversation with Mims and he conversating with you and the energy good, like I'll feed you all the information that you asking me for. But if I feel like your energy is off, no. All right. Or if I see you, I show everybody respect. I'll dap it up with you and I'll keep it moving. Because your energy is bad. I learned over the years, if a person energy is bad, it's no point in forcing that conversation or forcing to be, attached to that person, because it ain't gonna work out for you. You always gonna be disappointed in the end with that. So yeah, for me, I've always been a big energy person and feeding off of other people's energy. And I think that's why, one of the reasons why I was so successful at football, because if I had a team and their energy was good, I gave everything I had to that team. You know what I'm saying? I put it all on the line. There's nothing. There's no wall. There's no nothing I wouldn't run through for that team or that teammate. But yeah,
if anybody wants to know, it's my fault that he stopped playing even in these pickup leagues, because it was getting rough. He's a great trainer. I tell him all the time, God definitely, all jokes aside, I tell him all the time, God blessed him with a unmatched gift to train, to treat injuries and all of that, because just his knowledge and the success that he's had. I personally absolutely know that he's gifted in doing that, but he's also stubborn in thinking that he's still 25. You might look like you 25, but that body is like you 45.
Wake up, listen, I wake up in the morning times, I gotta sit on the edge of that bed for a minute and be like this, like, oh God, like this old back acting up. Oh man, these knees is.
So for y'all young athletes that's watching this, y'all clients of his that's watching this, when he run them 2 routes, know he come home and he done. He hurt. After them 2, he can give you 2 good routes during training.
So I got 2 in me, coach.
That's it.
I got 2 in me.
After them 2 routes, he come home.
So if you test me, you better catch me with these 2.
Jay Boogie, I'm gonna tell you, when he demonstrates them running back drills for you, listen, he got a good 3 in him. That's it. That's it. He gonna walk you through the rest of them, because that's all he got. He done.
Walk through.
He done.
Thursday.
Done. Yeah, he's done.
Thursday walk through.
Thursday walk through. He's done. He's done. After that, I'm the one that got to deal with my back hurt, my legs hurt, everything hurt. So yes, I'm like, you're done playing, because I don't care if it's a pickup league, because he out there playing like.
All right. We got to close this down. So, get back on topic. So we're gonna close this out, but before we close this out, we're gonna ask Shonda if you had any advice to give to any young lady out there. What would your advice be to them in far as a relationship?
I would say don't meet anybody with the intent to just jump into a relationship with them. There's a lot that comes with that. You guys have to truly, even when you talk about, I guess, like getting into a relationship with somebody, you have to know that your dynamic is there. I think, from my opinion, have a foundation of just being friends first. Can you hang out with him? Are you the jealous type? Is he the jealous type? One thing I can say about our dynamic is he'll say, hey, I'm going to hang out, or I'm going here and going there. I'm not calling him every 5 minutes. Like, he'll say, I'm going to play golf with the guys. Have fun. Like, I'm not calling you every 5 minutes. He was coaching football. I know, like, even if I don't, like, that's just not my personality. I'm not about to do that. And I feel like, personally, as a woman, if I feel like I have to call you and track your time, and I hate when women say, it's like a bragging thing when women say, oh, I got his location on my phone. Like, I ain't got time for all that. Like, I'm not about to be sick. That's stress. Ain't nobody, my job is stressful enough. I ain't got time to be sitting every 5 minutes trying to look at nobody's location. Like, who does that? And I feel like, know yourself. If that's something that you feel like you have to do, you're not ready to be in a relationship, because you have to have a level of trust. Again, I don't trust him. I trust that God is going to work through him to do the right thing. So that's the advice that I have for any young lady out here is, and always keep God first, man. Like nothing is going to, nothing is going to work out unless that is ultimately your foundation and everything. Because you're going to go through hard times and everything isn't going to be up, everything isn't going to be like always good. You're going to have disagreements. You're going to have financial issues. You're going to have, family issues, and your relationship has to have a strong foundation in order to get through all of that. So I would say that as a woman, like really tap into who you are as a person. I'm just me. Like I'm not the over the top. When we first started dating, I used to say all the time, like I'm a plain Jane. Like I'm not a pile of makeup type of woman, and no pun to anybody who does, but that's just never been me. I'm not that type of, but I am confident in who I am, and I think that's important that he knows and understands that. I'm confident in Shonda. I'm confident in who I am as a person, and what I have to offer. So I just, young ladies, if you take anything from this whole session, definitely take that advice. So
That's good advice, girl. I see you. But for me, if I had to tell any young man out there or any older man out there, my advice to them would be is to find somebody that's truly your friend first. And they're going to put that friendship and that loyalty friendship above anything else, above sex, above, the romantic relationship you got with each other. I would strongly advise you to find somebody that's truly your friend, because that's what the foundation is all about. Is about the friendship. And I've been in 5 serious relationships in my whole entire life. And those 5 relationships with those 5 women, 4, she's the 5th one. And those 4 women, I was never their friends. We were never truly friends first. It was always based upon something else. It was never based upon a true friendship. So my advice to you is to find somebody that you truly friends first with. I'm talking about real friends where you can trust them with your deepest, darkest secrets, and they're not going to use them against you. So, that would be my advice to any young man out there or any older man out there. And with that being said,
one other question the people want to know.
Know what?
What made you settle down with
you?
With the now Mrs.
Ooh, listen. If y'all want that tea, y'all gotta hit that like, share, and subscribe button. I tell you what, my followers is at 160 right now. If we can get it up, I'm not even gonna say no crazy number. If we can get my followers up to at least 190, then I'll bring you back on the show, and then we can talk about that. We'll do part 2. So if we hit 190 followers, we gotta hit 190. If we hit 190, I will bring Mrs. Mims back on the show, and we will talk about what made me want to truly get in a relationship with her, and how she made me wait for that relationship. So we'll get into that. Once again, I want to thank you guys for all tuning in to I Am Coach Mims, the podcast, and we appreciate y'all. Don't forget to hit that like, share, and subscribe button, and we'll see y'all on the next set of I Am Coach Mims. Peace.